Everyone, and welcome back as I continue my review of The Prisoner in the order that I'm watching them. So, we got a bit of a strange one here. Living in Harmony. It's a Western. All be revealed at the end, obviously. So, it basically starts off with the sheriff resigning from his job, and he heads off out to the wilderness. He's then intercepted by some thugs from another town. They dump him off into this new town, which is called Harmony. And it's not a very nice place, as the former sheriff discovers. He gets offered a whiskey, which is promptly shot off the bar by the kid, the one with the top hat, who is very sensitive towards Kathy. Now, the person running Harmony is the judge, and he wants this former sheriff on his side, and he offers him a job in Harmony. To which the former sheriff just basically says, "No thank you, I don't like your town, I am out of here." And he departs after the conversation with the judge, and he has a bit of run-in with the locals, and the former sheriff winds up in protective custody. He's locked up for his own good, because of the remarks he made about Harmony. I know, very peculiar. And so he is in the jail. Now, guarding him is the kid, who's acting very peculiar, like waving his gun around at him. And later on, the showgirl Kathy walks in with some booze for the kid, who's already tanked up. She's there for a reason. That's to get the former sheriff out, because she lifts the jail keys by distracting the kid, and after she departs, she leaves the keys by the barred window for our former sheriff. And later on, obviously, the kid falls asleep. Our former sheriff escapes, but then is promptly brought back. Yes, all the passes are guarded. And Kathy is put on trial. Now, she's only put on trial for one reason, and one reason only. Because the judge wants the former sheriff. And he states to the former sheriff, "I will do a deal with you. I will release her if you work for me." So he thinks about that. In the meantime, the kid walks in after he's departed, and he's had a little bit of a quick draw with the former sheriff, which luckily for him, the judge walks back in. So a bit later on, the former sheriff decides the best thing for Kathy is to get her released. So he takes the position of the new sheriff of Harmony, and the judge releases Kathy, because Kathy's been stared at by the kid, and the sheriff doesn't like that for obvious reasons. So, with her released, he's now the sheriff, but he won't take up the gun. And so the judge's gang of thugs, you could say, take it out on the sheriff. And there's a punch-up outside, and they knock him black and blue, literally. And after the punch-up, the sheriff heads back to his lodge to clean up, and is met with Kathy. She says, "Look, get out of town, they'll kill you anyway." And he says, "Well, I tried that last time, and look where it got me, walked back." And so it sort of goes along at this very peculiar pace, you could say. It's very strange. And okay, so he's cleaned himself up from his being beaten to black and blue. And later in the evening, the kid gets jealous at one of the cowboys at the bar because he's flirting with Kathy, and that results in a shootout. And the kid wins, obviously, because the kid is the fastest draw in town. And the sheriff walks in, and everyone says, no, the other guy pulled the gun first. And then they say, get some guns on, Sheriff. You're the sheriff. Get some guns on. Bit later on, the sheriff meets Kathy, and he decides, yes, we got to get out. And the only way to get out is I deal with the roadblock thugs first, and then I'll come back and collect you. And that's what happens. He deals with the thugs guarding the pass. But unfortunately, while that's all going on, the kid has a confrontation with Kathy. And that confrontation does not end well. Apparently, he's only meant to rough her up a bit. But it goes a lot further than that. The result is that he actually kills Kathy. So the sheriff returns to town, discovers her body, he buries her, and he takes up the gun. And as he walks out of his sheriff's office, he's face to face with the kid. Now, he's taken the badge off, he has. So he's no longer the sheriff, but he's got the gun. And of course, the kid is the fastest draw in town. So, yep, it's going to be a shootout between the two of them. So, there's a short standoff, and then there's a draw. And it's the kid who goes down. The former sheriff has shot the fastest gun in town. And after that, he heads off to the bar to have a drink. And the judge walks in. And he says, I didn't believe anyone could beat the kid. He was the fastest gun in town. And the former sheriff basically says, I'm out of here. And the judge says, no, you don't. I still got Kathy as a hold over you. To which the former sheriff says, no, you don't, because she's dead. And then it's revealed that the judge unleashed the kid to rough her up, but it all went wrong. So then the judge issues this ultimatum, because he's got his little gang around him. He says to the former sheriff, you work for me or you're dead. And the result is a shootout with the little gang around the judge. They're all taken out by the former sheriff, but then the former sheriff is shot by the judge. And he falls to the floor. And now he wakes up. It's number 6. And he is completely confused. He's got microphones on and headphones. And he is completely confused. He's looking around. What is going on? He's in this Western environment, but there's nobody there. Nobody at all. He finds cardboard cutouts. One, that of the judge. And he's looking around the place. There's nobody there. It's just him. And he's completely confused. What is going on? This doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But slowly but surely, number 6 separates fantasy from reality. And he hears a very familiar piece of music being played, and he discovers that this whole setting is not too far away from, yes, the village. And from there, number 6 makes his way back to the village and up to the Green Dome. And into number two's office, and yes, there he is. Number two is the judge in the scenario, and he's looking at everyone. Number six, he's looking at everyone, and he sees the kid, number 8, and Kathy, number 22. But he doesn't say anything. He just, he looks around, and then he just walks out. Number 6 just walks out, realising exactly what they tried to do to him by trying another method of cracking him open. And yeah, so what happened is basically they fed him hallucinogenic drugs, put him in a dangerous environment, isolate him, force him to kill it. And this process has worked before, because number 8 says it worked before. But unfortunately, everybody seems to have got involved a bit too much in this one. And number 22, Kathy, sort of breaks down, and she heads over to the Harmony Town set, you could say. And number 2 says to number 8, it's all right for you. You don't have to answer for this failure. It's me. I'm number 2. I'm the one that's going to answer to it. And number 8 basically says, look, it's worked before. It's interesting how number 6 separated fact from fiction just like that. Well, after a short while, let's say. And so he also departs number 8. But things don't end there. Number 22, as I say, heads back to Harmony, just walking around the place. And number 8 is there as well. Unfortunately, for number 2, it's going to end in an absolute disaster, because what happens is number 8, the kid, he's still acting it out in his head. He's still the kid, number 8. And the result is, yes, he kills number 22, Kathy. And number 6 appears on the scene. It's too late. She's a goner. Then number 2 rolls up. And number 8, completely off his trolley. You say, you're not going to push me around anymore, Judge. You're not going to do this to me and that to me. And he's clearly completely gone. He is, number 8. And he then runs up a flight of stairs and commits suicide by throwing himself over the balcony. And the whole thing has now ended badly for number 2. It was bad enough that number 2 didn't get the answers he wanted from the whole scenario, but for the whole thing to end as it did this way is even worse, because he's now got 2 deaths on his hands. Number 6 is intact. They didn't get the answers. And, yep, it ended badly. Very badly for number 2. Yeah, it's a bit of an odd one, this, Living in Harmony. And, well, I think on that note, I think we'll wrap this up as I go into my final thoughts on this particular episode. Right, here we go. My final thoughts on Living in Harmony. Well, yeah. It's a bitter, sweet one, this, you could say, for number 6. It's sweet in the terms that number 6 did not crack. He did not give them the answers they were looking for, but bitter, obviously, because 2 of those who took part in this scenario ended up dead at the end. It's a scenario which number 8 said has worked in the past, but this time round things don't work out very well, do they? They do not indeed. So number 2 has got a lot of explaining to do to his superiors about this one ending so badly, and it did end very badly for number 2. Yeah, it's a unusual story, this one. But then again, looking back at the previous episodes, I don't put anything past the village authorities in the terms of trying to crack number 6 with very unusual methods to get the answers they need. So yeah, very very unusual. Yeah, so in many ways, yes, it's a Western, but from what we've seen before, it's a Western that does actually slot in. It's okay, because we've seen all the weirdness of previous episodes, so yeah, it's just another weird one. And yeah, it was a good one, this one. Yeah, so there's not much more I can say, really. Yeah, victory for number 6. So as usual, I'll see you on the next review. Have a great day, everyone. And as normal, my ending, be seeing you as we come face to face with a very disgruntled number 2 returning to the village.